Welcome, everyone, to the Circle Debate Podcast Top 5 Picks of the Week here on Circle Debate. Yes, that's right. He's drinking Pop Polar. Yeah, and I'm drinking Montejo. There you go. Yes. Happy Halloween to everyone. Happy Sunday. Enjoy your Halloween. Yes, we didn't dress up this year. We've been so busy with our schedule. That's unfortunate. But I hope if you guys want to go see us dressed again, go back to the archives from last year's Halloween as we were dressed up.
I'll be dressed as Mariachi both tomorrow and the day after, you know, just because El Mariachi from Desperado and Once Upon a Time in Mexico. I'll be Antonio Banderas.
If anything, Mexican. We will take pictures individually and we'll post it on our Instagram. So on our Circle Debate, follow us there and our Twitter account as well on Facebook. It'll be there. So you guys will see us dressed up for Halloween. So
jamming with random musicians tomorrow will be fun.
Absolutely. And of course, once again, ladies and gentlemen, it's Devious What I Would See here with my brother from another mother. Of course, the fellow horseman himself, Mr. 69, the Carbonation 69 Cabron, which Mr. Polar. It is Mr. MGC. Mr. 69, Calle 69. We are here today, ladies and gentlemen, to give our top 5 for the Halloween special. I know a lot of the podcasts and worlds have done their specials, but we're talking about moments, talking about matches, we're talking about overall. But we're here to give today our top 5 Halloween Havoc moments that ever happened. And there you have it. Halloween Havoc. He wants to the bed. Well, there you go. You have it there. And now let's get into it. You know what? I'm going to go very briefly, MGC, because I want you to kill it. I want you to knock it off the park. Save you best for last. So I just want to get this out of the way. But yes.
Your volunteer is tribute.
Yes, absolutely.
Hunger Games reference. All those. Tomorrow, it's basically everybody's going to be dressed as Squid Game, so I'm giving you a Hunger Games reference.
But yes, let's give you a little bit of knowledge of Halloween Havoc. It was founded on October 28th, 1989, which was an instant classic that happened in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, with the great main event that you had. One of the oddest main events and tag teams that you ever seen ever in your life before, which... It's the Nature Boy with Stang versus who? And this was a time that WCW was hot because they had international stars, Terry Funk and the Great Muta. That was the main event for Halloween Havoc's 1989, October 28th. Go back and look at that. That was an instant classic tag team match. I did enjoy that one very briefly. And guess who was the referee for that match? Bruno Sammartino. So there you go.
Bruno Sammartino.
That's right. So go back and look at that.
The Great Muta at that time, he was very young, very fast. His specialty is like high flyer. So, you know, keep your eyes on the high flyers of the day, so because you don't know how they're going to evolve. You know, people now Muta is very methodical and calculating, and you wouldn't expect that out of the young high flyer back then. So it's just so cool to see all the changes.
Absolutely. So there you go. So that's how it all began there when you go to that pinnacle of Havoc. You know, obviously Havoc ended in in 2000, I believe so. I would say the last 99 before it was purchased out from WWF at the time. But we want to talk about the history of it, the moments, the matches. We were very intrigued in Halloween Havoc, which it brings me now to my number 5. So my number 5 was the one that was really excited, was Halloween Havoc, October 25th, 1992. The main event that I enjoyed, actually, because it was a moment that, oh my God, people, and I'm still to this day scared, and that is when it was Stang versus Jake the Snake Roberts in a coal miner's glove match. This is when Jake had the snake, and they were fighting in that type of match. And I believe it was the one who actually grabbed the snakes and to put it on the other opponent's neck. And this is what Stang won the match by doing that. the snake turned on Jake, and then there you go, Sting won it. It was terrifying just looking at the crowd because we did our research here, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the crowd and just seeing that was just such fascinating to see. If going back to the early 90s, seeing these type of matches that were brought upon on national television and pay-per-views was incredible to see, and which is why we like pro wrestling today. And I could say this match is one of the ones I would highly recommend for you guys to see because it was a dramatic. Because you know, Sting was a hot at that time during that time era, 90s. Your Surfer Sting, of course, I'm talking about a hot commodity at that time for WCW. And it was a great match. And I loved it. I love it. It was great. My number 4 will have to be, of course. I know that I'm putting in different orders, but I'm number 4. I'm not going moments because I'm talking about matches mainly. But I will have to say Goldberg versus Sting. And that Goldberg versus Sting, that was on October 24th, 1999. That match, I could say, was and you know, before I explain it, before I talk about that match, I feel that Halloween Havoc was your Survivor Series of WWF. And it was because there was a lot of instant classic matches that you were like, oh shit, we're finally seeing this match collide, which is Goldberg and Sting, you know, two baby faces going at it. And this is Goldberg being the WWE World Champion. Never thought to see him. The betting odds of what I was researching that Sting is the underdog and was going to be the winner. And unfortunately, no, Goldberg ended up winning that match. And Sting, just go back and look at that match itself. It was great overall. I can't really say much of the whole card itself. There was one of the, I could say, not the worst pay-per-view because of the Hogan and Warrior, but I could say that this match kind of helped it and brought it back to life because that was the co-main event. And I'm kind of glad that the Goldberg and Sting match kind of helped it and brought it back to life. So I could say it was a great overall phenomenal match. And don't forget also Disco Inferno versus Ruby Juice was another great match during that card in 97. Number 3, people, this is the first time that you saw legitimate professional wrestling going at its peak of hard hitting, of you want to like call this shit fake, slap. And this is what I mean, the Texas Death Match, the main event of Cactus Jack versus Big Vader. Yes. 1993 Halloween Havoc. That match itself, man, if you go back and look at that match, this is when Vader took off his gloves and literally punching Mick Foley in the face, busting him open. And not only that, towards the ramp, and this was a time when Hardy Race was the manager for Vader. And so if you go back and look at that match entirely, this was a very self-explanatory, you could say, hardcore match. We'll remind you once again, going back to the knowledge about when we talk about best weapons, that, there's a debate about how, death matches, or, not death matches, but hardcore matches where was it really truly found? We had a debate on the top 5 best weapons. Go back and look at that.
I gotta say this, Ivan, that both Cactus Jack and Vader are forged in Japan.
Yes, there you have it. Knowledge them because they came for that before that.
Big Van Vader, All Japan and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then of course, Cactus Jack, Mick Foley in FMW. Both of them forged in the fires and hammered, forged in the fires of Japan, hammered in WCW.
Exactly. There you have it. So, that's where you could tell that it's debatable when it comes to where these type of matches have come. But I would like how Matt said it himself. They came from Japan, first of all. They came from that knowledge. So that's how you know where that pinnacle came from. People who disagree with that, you comment right below and let us know if you guys disagree upon that. And so this is a debate that I would like to have with Tyler Wolf, because shout out to you, Tyler Wolf, for counting out Mike and Tyler, and from the classroom session sessions with Anthony Cerulli from Untitled Chapter, because that's a debate that I would like to have with yourself, with you and Matt, because I would like to talk about that. Number 2, this is another one that was an underdog that I thought for me was like, oh my God, oh shit. I thought he was going to win it, and I ain't going to lie, I thought he was. Matt Callis, and this is the 1998 Halloween Havoc. Was it 1998? Oh, wait, no, I'm going wrong here. Oh, shit. I mean, Sting and Goldberg was 97. Was it 97? Hold on. See, I'm messing up already my ears. My apologies, gentlemen. Oh, no. 99 was Sting and Goldberg. 98 is DDP and Goldberg. When DDP countered a jackhammer to the Diamond Cutter, the crowd went nuts just to see that. I was like, holy shit. Is DDP going to win this? Is he going to be WCW World Champion? I lost it. I thought he was going to win it, but he did not. But it was a great match, a great underdog story, because this is DDP now finally getting his title run for the first time in quite some time, I could say. And, you know, Goldberg being, you know, the WCW champion at that time, I could say it was a great match. I actually enjoyed it. Go back and look at it. I love DDP. I give him a lot of respect of what he's done, and this match kind of solidified it more. He did not like more of his career, because this match did not made him weak. If anything, it made him better, in my opinion. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. So, I mean, that's just me. That's my number 2. But my number 1, and I'm gonna have to say it. I'm gonna have to say it. I know people, a lot of the podcast world talks about it, but I am not talking about the match. I'm talking about the pay-per-view overall. The whole pay-per-view. The whole. And that is 1997 Halloween Havoc. The whole pay-per-view, which you had Piper versus Hogan. This is when Piper made his return, and this was a steel cage match they had. You had Savage versus Diamond Dallas Page. You had Lex Luger versus Scott Hall. You had Kurt Angle versus Ric Flair. You had Jacqueline versus Disco Inferno. Alex Wright versus Steve McMichael. You had Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero for the Cruiserweight Championship. This is the highlight of the night of overall that everybody talks about it. That was the best match overall on the card. Yes, it was. But also don't forget about Gato, who was Silver King, who was facing Chris Jericho at that time of that card. And then also you have Yuji Nagata, who for everybody forgot about, wrestled against Ultimo Dragon as well on that. So the whole pay-per-view card was stacked. You go back and look at I can sit down and literally eat popcorn or eat some pizza and with a couple of beers and watch this entire pay-per-view. Halloween Havoc 1997 was buonissimo, phenomenal overall pay-per-view. I enjoyed it because none of it disappointed me. The whole card was itself. Hearing these legends now who are legends back then, right, they're already stars at that time, especially Yuji versus Ultimo Dragon, especially Jericho versus Gato, Gato, whatever you guys want to call him, Silver King. Another great one there too, man. And of course, Eddie and Rey Mysterio. So much good shit. So, I mean, this Halloween Havoc did not disappoint at all. And I don't know, I wish I could go back and see the buy rates of it. I don't know what was the buy rates. Maybe it wasn't as best, but I guarantee you, people that, wants to go learn about these individuals that I mentioned, go back and look at these matches because this is where they came from. And I have to give credit for Eric Bischoff because he brought a lot of international stars to the States to get them known. And not only that, but also give a shout out to, of course, the professor himself. And that is by 10-8 because that motherfucker knew his shit from top to bottom. He knew his shit. I loved it. I love it. This guy gave us the knowledge. And what can we say about it? I mean, people never pay attention to it now, but if you go back and look at it, you're like, holy shit. It's quite you kind of question it. Wow, I didn't know about that. You know, so
You're
I know
giving,
back, yeah.
You're giving me 70 reasons, Ivan. You're giving me all the knowledge.
But yeah, I mean, I had no honorable mentions because it was hard for me. You know, obviously we know that Havoc wasn't much of a tenure. It only had like 12 pay-per-views overall. Not, you know, I wish it could have been like a 30-year, but obviously the 10-year WCW wasn't long. You know, it lasted a while, you know, it was fun. But I could say that at least we could say that 97 pay-per-view was top-notch all the way from the beginning to the end.
Who knows, Ivan, maybe 15 years from now, we might get to see, you know, we might make another Halloween Havoc list, you know, because who knows what NXT could be churning out in 15 years.
Yeah.
Let's be optimistic towards the future.
Absolutely. All right, man. Mr. 69, the floor is yours.
Number 5, Sting versus Sid Vicious, you know, 1990 Halloween Havoc. I got to say, it's such a different kind of very different kinds of styles. But I think the fun thing about Sid Vicious in 1990 is this was before that. I've got half the brain. This is way before that. But I think the kind of interesting thing is, you know what? When I think about him as the wrestler, when I first researched him, I wasn't listening to the Sex Pistols yet. So I didn't know because I got Sex Pistols videos instead of the wrestler, just because they have that name in common. But I think I think the wrestler Sid Vicious could probably play bass better than the the bass player Sid Vicious. There you go. And, you know, he'd probably take it more seriously because, you know, he's a family man and he plays softball. So, you know, over the years, but I think that's a really cool matchup. That's definitely something to watch if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Number 4, Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair in a steel cage in 1994.
I forgot about that fucking match.
That's a pretty good setting. I think Flair actually has a flair for steel cages. I gotta say, he definitely. I mean, because I watched Ric Flair versus Ron Garvin in a steel cage. I downloaded that match off of like Kazaa or LimeWire way back, and I remember just how different it was. I'm like, who's Ron Garvin? You know, when I first saw it, I'm like the man with the stone hands, and I saw Ric Flair kind of come out on top in that match, and how just brutal and bloody it was. So Ric Flair just has that magic. I'm running through these a lot quicker than those might think. Number 3, Lex Luger versus Ron Simmons in 1991 in a 2 out of 3 falls match.
Hey, that match, you're right about that. That match was actually excellent. Underrated, but excellent. Because it was a great storytelling.
2 out of 3 falls. It's a really great stipulation. It's not too gimmicky. And at the same time, it's very special. It's great for rematches. And it's great. I mean, Okada, Kenny Omega, 2 out of 3. Nick Aldis, Cody, 2 out of 3. I want to, you know, 2 out of 3 is a real magical thing that kind of that's just that little extra spice, little extra butter, a little extra milk in that dish that makes it delicious, that brings all the ingredients together. Sometimes that's all you need to make it special. You know, it's 2 out of 3 falls. You know, FTR versus DIY, 2 out of 3.
Ooh.
Like all the 2 out of 3s over the years. So we could kind of see Ron Simmons is amazing. You know, we got
for that. My apologies, just for that. We got to do a top 5 best 2 out of 3 fall matches.
On its own, we got to add that to the list. That's a must. That's not even up for debate. That is a must.
There you have it. There you have it, folks.
I think, Ivan, there was a time period when all wrestling matches were 2 out of 3 falls. That used to be, I think that was the requirements back then, you know, in the really olden, I think in the really, really olden days too. I think the early 1900s.
Well, Lucha Libre, because it would have that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like any 6-man tag teams or tag matches or like singles competition. You know, es luchador de 2 o 3 caídas sin límite de tiempo. So, like, you know, 2 out of 3 falls without the limit. Yeah.
That goes way back as well. So number 2, I'm going to go with, this is a very special one, you know, great minds think alike, Sting versus Goldberg, 1999. I got to say that Sting and Goldberg are definitely the top baby faces that you could say were answers to Stone Cold and The Rock in a way, as your top 2 major baby faces. And I think if they, you know, if Goldberg was like more of a talker back then, and there was a little bit more like charisma and in ring from Goldberg, I think they could have really built up their feuds together. You know, Goldberg versus Sting, 2 out of 3 falls. Goldberg, you know, if you know, one of my interests I haven't shared with you, Ivan, and I want to share with all of you on the internet, is I'm a big fan of alternate history. So who knows? I could even start a whole YouTube series on alternate history wrestling matches we never got. And I think that it's really fun to dream. And who knows, as technology gets better, we might be able to really better simulate these matches, you know, Macho Man versus The Rock, you know, that, like, stuff like that. Very special things.
I love that.
I love alternate history, you know, who knows? Imagine make your own character becoming a superstar with the advancements in virtual reality technology and stuff like that, making your own dream match actually happen as if you were there.
Absolutely.
You know, like Ready Player One. My God, that'll be a whole other community in pro wrestling if you could go to simulated dream matches with your own custom made character. You know, The Rock versus Sting, you know, inside of a Hell in a Cell, you know, all the things that you've always wanted to see, you get to see. Which brings me to my number 1. And I got to say, this is definitely dream match worthy, you know, because of, you know, for so many years, you know, Hulk Hogan was the good guy and Roddy Piper was the bad guy, you know. I would say Roddy Piper is the Moriarty to Hulk Hogan, Sherlock Holmes. Or
I like that.
The Lex Luthor to Hulk Hogan, Superman. You know, his nemesis, you know, is kind of like how Triple H is the nemesis of The Rock, you know. The Stone Cold's the rival, but Triple H really is The Rock's nemesis. So it's so cool to flip it around, you know, have Roddy Piper be the good guy and Hulk Hogan the bad guy. And that definitely was the case in this match. You know, that's why it kind of is so special to me, you know, just to see how the roles could be reversed over the years. And, you know, and like I said, we're for future predictions and, you know, simulations as well. Imagine, you know, we get to see in the future MJF as the good guy and, you know, whatever other upcoming baby face as the bad guy, you know, over the years. I mean, we've seen heel Tanahashi. We've seen just so many different things that we wish would happen, you know, get to happen. So many dreams, you know, dream matches, simulation chambers.
Man, we even seen freaking heel Jushin Liger going to a Kishin Liger. So it's like that's like more like a heelish, you know. We've seen that.
Kishin Liger versus Sting. Ooh.
I want that Joker Sting versus Ishii Liger.
Yeah, in the simulation chamber. My God.
That'll be cool. Shit.
They could wrestle like on a boat that could be like on a boat or on an island off the coast of Japan, like somewhere near the sand, you know. They could fight in the water and hit each other with paddles and stuff like that. You know, not too cool for school. But yeah, I don't have any honorable mentions. I'm gonna keep it very
Vague.
a little bit less to keep the 5 more juicy with the ingredients. Not too many side dishes. Let's have the main course taste yummy.
I love that. I love it.
The top 5 is the main course, so we're gonna have the main course be filling enough so you don't need dessert or appetizers.
It's like you're at a sushi bar or either at a Japanese or Korean or any other places in the world you go to. The international world of foods is so.
It's just one dish. It's the entree, and that's enough to fill you up. You don't need appetizers, side dishes, nuts, dessert. No, this is our top 5 is the main course right here on Circle of Debate.
That is right. That's why he is Mr. 69 for that reason. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Very briefly, I know unfortunately the other 2.
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Yes, other 2 other hosts are not here today. Obviously, they're getting busy for their Halloween. What they have to do later on today. But we're here to see, we did not have the opportunity of our time to get dressed up. But you'll see it on our IG. You'll see it. Just keep an eye on it. Make sure you follow us all of our social media platforms. Click on the link tree right below on here in this video where you can follow us and where you can buy our merch. Don't forget to purchase your very own Circle of Debate coffee mug right there, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we do have glass pints for it as well. T-shirts, muscle shirts, the whole shebang. We have it there. Make sure you purchase it. Go to our link tree to purchase all your merchandise. And also want to thank everybody for our audio platform listeners listening today here on this lovely Sunday for Halloween. And wish you everyone and all the world out there who are listening a very, very, very happy Halloween. Enjoy your Sunday. And of course, I'm going to let Mr. 69, Calle 69, to end it here of what the hell we do here on Halloween on the COD Chanel.
We don't make podcasts. We make